cooking at Nanook Lodge. As you can tell, I'm not in our home kitchen today. We're actually in a condo out by the beach on the Oregon coast. And so I'm going to show you something I call Condo Scones. It's a perfect thing for breakfast, easy to take along and make wherever you go. It's simply a bag of scone mix, which I made up ahead of time, and I'll talk about that. Stick of butter and some buttermilk. And if you don't have buttermilk, you can just use milk. We were in the Bahamas once and I couldn't find buttermilk to save my life. But I found butter and some milk and it worked out just fine. And then all you need from your condo's kitchen is something to mix it in and a tray to bake it on, and you're good to go for a wonderful breakfast. All right. Dump in the scone mix, which has already got all your baking powder and all that stuff in there. And then you want to just put your cut pieces of butter in there. Most condos don't have a pastry knife or a pastry blender, so you have to get in there and do it with your hands. I just start breaking up the butter into little pieces, and the idea is to break this all up. Having the chips in here actually helps. So you can see it's starting to break up just a little bit. I still got some big chunks of butter in here, and you want to continue to break these down. And I'm just rubbing my thumb and rubbing the butter and mixing it with the flour so that it breaks up. Oh, there's a big chunk. So there, it looks like I've got most of the pieces of butter all broken up. It kind of looks a little bit mealy with the butter blended into the flour, but it all flows freely still. All right, time to add the buttermilk. We've got this ginormous measuring cup of buttermilk in there. It's the only measuring cup in the condo, but it works. So now you just get in there with your hands, and the idea is just to mix this into a dough. At this point, you don't want to overwork it too much because it will lose its tenderness, but you want to make sure that all the flour is incorporated. Kind of gets gooky on your hands, and you just kind of run it around like that. You can see how it's starting to come together in a dough. It's still a little bit soft on my hands, the sticky stuff, and there's still some flour on the bottom that you want to keep working. At this point, I generally take the remaining dough and I just flip it out on the counter so I can work it a little bit and just get the last of that flour in there. As you can see, the dry dough is right, the rest of the dry flour from the bottom of the bowl is on the top there. And I just kind of pull it all together. It's kind of like gently kneading bread. Because eventually you're going to have this in one round mass, which you're going to be able to cut and put scones on the tray. And you might have noticed the light brown chips that are in there that you can now see. Those are cinnamon chips. Today I'm making cinnamon scones rather than chocolate chip or another flavor. But you can see now, I've got most of the flour all in there, and this has kind of formed a shaggy but cohesive dough. From here, I'm just gonna pat it out, and now you can drop it, you can cut it. This is gonna make 8 scones, but what I usually do is pat it out into a circle that's about 3/4 of an inch thick. And then I'll cut it with a knife into 8 triangles. So as I said before, from here, you can do whatever you want. Sometimes from that glob, I'll just make really rusty ones and I'll divide it and just kind of make like a drop scone. Today, I'm gonna make triangles. If I was at home and I had a biscuit cutter, you could make circles if you wanted and make circular scones. At a condo, I've taken a glass before and just turned it upside down and made cuts. But today, simply, I'm just going to cut it in half and make little triangles. Sort of like making pizzas. From there, right on the baking tray. You can see our scones are now out of the oven and they raised just beautifully. They've got just a little light golden brown color. And from here, I'm going to put them on a plate so they stop cooking. Thanks for tuning in to Cooking at Nanook Lodge at our beach condo for the weekend. Enjoy your cinnamon scones.